Aslan? Which book did you choose?
A bike for a bread.
A Bike for Brad. Okay, so what kind of book is this?
But they're gonna get the new bike.
Yeah, it's a story, right? What do you know about stories?
They read and if we look, there's some pages and it says new.
Yeah. So what else do you know about stories, though, that helps you read?
The pictures.
Okay. So I'm going to share a couple of things with you. Stories have characters in them, okay? So this story has characters in them, and we have two characters. Let's look for their names. We have Brad and Ashley, okay? So Brad and Ashley are in the story. And most stories have conversation, okay? So they're talking in the story, okay? What do you think Brad and Ashley are talking about?
That they want to buy that one.
Yeah, they want something about a bike, right? Maybe buying the bike. Exactly. Okay, the other thing about stories is there's the setting in the story. So where does the story take place? Where are you noticing? Where are they?
In the bike store.
Yeah, in a bike store. Do you know another word for store that they might call it? Another word? Sometimes they call it a shop, a bike shop. We'll have to see what the author uses. So they're in the bike shop. Then where are they?
Oh.
They look like they're on a trail, right? On a bike trail. Yeah. And so that setting is changing in the story. Where are they here now?
At home.
Yeah, so in stories, the setting sometimes changes. In this story, it changes quite a bit. Okay? So we know there's characters, right? We have Brad and Ashley. We know that they talk. So there's talking marks or quotation marks. So they're going to be talking back and forth. We know in stories that there's a setting and it changes sometimes, right? The other thing about stories is there's a problem or event. What do you think the event is in the story or the problem?
Like that the problem is that they can't bike.
Yeah, something about the bike. You know that there's going to be something related to the bike. Either it's a problem or an event, right? Related to buying a bike, right? Or using a bike. Okay. So let's get started reading this. Brad
walked around the bike shop with his coin. Coin?
Do you think that makes sense? He walked around with his coin. Oh, I guess it could. But this word is cousin. His cousin Ashley. So he's walking around with his cousin Ashley.
Looking at all the shiny new BMX bikes. There's the one I want for my birthday, he said. I could ride really well. My old one is too much small for me. If you had that bike, you could ride in the BMX race.
Cool, right?
Like I do, said Ashley.
Oh, so Ashley rides bikes, doesn't she? So we know that about Ashley. And it looks like Brad wants to what?
Ride that bike.
Get a bike, right? All right, let's see what happens.
But the bike cost such a... But the bike cost...
Give it a try.
Costs such a lot, said Red.
His name is Brad.
Now that...
Put your finger in there because you're skipping a little bit. Put your finger in there so you know where you are.
And we haven't got much money. Now that Dad's out of work.
All right, so what are your thoughts?
That they're gonna ask his
What are you thinking though? Don't predict. What are you thinking after you read that?
I think
Or what do we know?
I know that after, like, every time it's his birthday, I think actually it's gonna buy him.
So you're
the
predicting. Let's think about what we know. We know that they're in a bike store, right? And that they are looking for a bike for Brad. But what's the problem?
They can't buy that bike because it costs us a lot of
Costs
money.
too much money. So let's see what happens.
You can still ride my bike wherever you want to, said Ashley. Come on, let's go and practice. Down at the track again. The track again. You're getting really good at going over the hills.
So what do we know?
That he's really good at.
Yeah, he is. Do you think he'll be good for the BMX team? Let's see.
Ashley watched
His name is Brad.
Brad riding around the BMX track on her bike. You're a great rider, Brad, she said, as he came up to the fancy.
You know something's not right, don't you? Yeah. So that's good. You're self-monitoring. You know it's not right. So what strategy do you do when it's not right?
Break them apart.
You could. What other strategy do you know?
Sound it out.
What other strategy could you try?
Skipping the word.
We can, but it's at the end of the sentence. So let's just try this strategy. Let's go back and reread and think about where Brad is. Think about the story. You're a great rider, Brad, she said, as he, who's Brad, came up to the...
Fence.
See what you did? Makes more sense, doesn't it, to do that? Think about the story, where Brad is, where the characters are, right? That's part of that setting. Where are they? They're near a fence. Use your pictures, okay? If you get that new bike for your birthday, you might even get on the BMX team. Brad laughed.
I'm not that good, he said.
Let's find out if he's good.
On the morning of his birthday, Brad woke up very early. He could see a bike at the end of his bed. It was a BMX bike.
What are you thinking?
He's going to go there.
Don't predict. What are you thinking? Isn't that cool? Yeah, he got a BMX bike. But he doesn't look very happy, does he? Let's see what he's thinking.
But it was not the shiny new bike from the shop. It was a sound pan.
So you know something's not right, right? What can you try?
Look at the pictures.
Okay, you could. So think about the story. What do we know about the bike?
It's not shiny.
So it's not new, right? So it was a... What is the author trying to say there?
It was not from the shop.
It what?
It was not from the shop.
Well, it was from the shop, but it wasn't a new one. So let's look at the word carefully. Where would you break that word? Show us where you would break it. Okay, so what's that first part? Or,
See?
or, sec, sec,
Second.
say it, second, and then what's that word?
Makers.
No, honey, what's that that word? H-A-N-D. Right here, honey.
Hand.
Yeah, so second hand one. What does that mean, second hand? Second hand means it's not new. Someone already owned it. So you didn't really know the meaning of that, did you? Right. So what we did was we broke it, but what you have to do when you break it is you have to try it a different way. So seek, then you have to try that vowel the other way, sec. And then as soon as you did that, you got second hand, so that's a longer word, okay? So now we got to go back up to the top. Try it again.
But it was not the shiny new bike from the shop. It was a second hand one. And it was markers.
And it
Had markers and scratches on it.
no wonder his face is sad, right? His name is Brad.
Brad sat back on his bed and tried not to feel too disappointed.
Yeah, would you have been disappointed that you got a second-hand bike? Yeah, I don't know if I would have cared, as long as I got a bike. But he was disappointed. Let's see what happens.
After a while, Brad declined
Try it.
to try out his new bike. Decided.
Give it a try.
After a while, Brad decided to try out his new bike in the backyard. He found that he could turn on it. Turn
Yep, you could turn on it.
easily.
Yeah, that's good, right? All right, let's finish this together. He could balance on it and ride on the back wheel. And best of all, it was his own bike. Brad felt much happier. Thanks for the bike, Dad, he said. It's a good one. Brad practiced riding every day that week. All right. So you know what, hon? You can take this book back with you and finish reading it, but I have a question for you. What are some new strategies you're going to think about when you're reading a story, when you start reading a story? What are you going to think about? Let's think about the story, though. We're going to think about a story, right? We're going to think about all the elements it has, right? We're going to think about the characters. What else are we going to think about?
The word.
The setting of the story, right? Where it takes place. We're going to think about the problem or event in the story, right? So you got to think about how stories are set up, right? So as soon as you knew this was a story about characters and conversation, it was pretty simple to read, wasn't it? Yeah, so you want to think about that, okay? Then the other thing to think about when you're solving words is to think about the story, right? Yeah, think about what you're reading.